Let's talk about the spirit of money. But before we get into that, this is something that I'm going to do pretty much probably starting Thursday, setting up phone calls to talk to you guys about what you need going forward to make money online. I'm going to be asking you, and this is not a sales call, it's going to be just us having a conversation about what you need to be successful online. And you should start seeing the notifications down there probably Wednesday, maybe Thursday, where you can go ahead and answer the questions. Takes you a minute, then book a call and we can talk. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the spirit of money. Now, when I say the spirit of money, this is something that I've learned from practical experience. It is easier to manage money when you have money. For a long period, I was on that broke train. Never had any money, had to borrow money to get to work, got paid, instantly paid bills, bought groceries, and was back to being broke. And this went on for quite some time. And once again, I didn't think there was any other way to live. I had no friends who were in that position to advise me to talk. Everyone that I worked with was pretty much in the same position. So I actually stayed broke, going to pawn shops, going to title loans, errands rent to own for a washer and dryer and I had the money. This is something that's funny because I'm about to make a little departure. When I actually got in the storage auction business and I started to sell washer and dryers for $150, $250, $300, it was so wild that, man, I could have went ahead and got a used washer and dryer and saved myself a ton of money, because errands rent to own was like, I think $30 a week, which is $120 a month for a year. So I literally bought that washer and dryer 5 times. With me being broke and not having money and not doing the things to get money, I had no firm understanding of what was possible until I fell. Then in that boarding house, I learned a lot. And this is where I got my first lesson in the spirit of money and the power of money. That first emergency fund, that first savings account, that right there. And that's one of the reasons that I keep preaching financial management, money management. And a lot of y'all just don't want to hear it because you feel that you can go ahead and make all this money and that's going to solve your problems. Let me tell you, that's not true. How do I know that's not true? You could probably find this on online, ESPN. 30 for 30, broke. These are men who made tens, some made over $100 million, and they ended up broke because they didn't know how to manage their money. So money management is really key to a lot of your money problems. It's key. And this is one of the things we're going to be talking about in the new training. But you got to manage your money to get money. And in that boarding house, I started to manage my money like I never managed my money before. Number one, I wasn't making a lot of money. Number two, I had the understanding that I had to do more. I had that understanding that I had to do more, that I had to create more, I had to set up more. And this is what prompted me to go out and get a part-time job and take all of that money. And there are many of you out there, if you would do this, let's say you work a regular job and the only time you can make extra money is on the weekends. I would do 2 12-hour days, Saturday and Sunday. That may get you, even with the lower rates of Uber and Lyft, that may get you $500, $600, $700 after gas and stuff. Like, let's say it gets you an easy $500 or a hard $500. And you do that every weekend. That's $2,000. And you just stuff that into a savings account. In a year, you'll have $12,000 cash money, more money than you ever had before, if you just go ahead and start to do more. And one of the things that I understood from the boarding house and being broke is something strange started to happen, because my first savings account, I didn't completely drain it. I had about four, I used about 1,200, so I left 2,800. And then I got the job at Rent a Crate that brought me in at 38,500. So I immediately said, we're gonna take $8,000 and just put this in savings, because it was way more money than I was used to making, and it was easy because I was making more money and I was in the habit of saving money. And then I got the panel systems and they paid me more, so I started to save more. So when I got the business environments, I had a stash. I think I had close to $60,000. After my first 3 months where they paid me, then the next 3 months where I didn't get paid, guess what I lived on? I lived on that stash. And then I started to make money, and I stopped digging in my stash and I started to add more money to my stash. Because the spirit of money, and I'm gonna give it to you, you need to have physical money on you. Let me see, because I've been spending money. I got a little cash on me. You need to have credit cards with a lot of credit on them. I have multiple credit cards that I've got credit cards I've never used. And then you wanna have money in the bank. Now what this does, it creates energy. This is where the spirit of money starts to speak, because when you have money, it is easier to get more money. When you're broke, it's hard to get money and it's hard to keep money because you have bad habits. You have really bad habits. I heard people talk about having to write a check for 6 figures to the Internal Revenue Service, which could be ghastly, but that's going to take a certain level of money management. That means that you're going to take large chunks of money, put it in the bank, and don't touch it. That's good money management. With what's going on, if you want to have more money in your life, you must do more. This whole notion that you're going to get more money, more financial freedom by doing less and finding this hack. And this is why CPNs are so popular. You have so many people who want to get this hack, a CPN, a credit profile number, whatever. It's a fake social security number. That's what it is. And go out and get all these benefits and stuff. And then, why do you want a CPN? That's right, because you messed up your own social security number and your credit is trash. So now you want to go out and get this fake number. I got a question. What makes you think that you're going to do well by this fake number that you're not doing well by your real number? What makes you think that you're gonna do that? So everyone is looking for instant success, microwave success. Go ahead, put this out there, go ahead, do this thing, get all this money, have all this free time where you can be chilling with Big Booty Betty. And it's pretty interesting, But you guys have got to understand the reality of the situation. Money is spiritual. And if you don't have the spirit of money, cash on you, money in the bank, extended lines of credit that are not used, you're not in a position to attract more money. You're just not. And if I had not started that savings account back in the day and then just kept up, it became a habit. It became a habit to save money. And there are people online that will tell you you should never save money. You should never put money in the bank. You should never. Peter Thiel lost $50 million when Silicon Valley Bank went under. Warren Buffett is sitting on $150 billion in cash. You think he's got that under his mattress? No, he's got it in a bank somewhere. So I consistently see wealthy people putting large chunks of money in the bank, and people who don't have any money talking about, well, you should invest every penny. The last place you need to leave your money is in the bank. All banks are about to crash. Let's talk about that. During the Great Depression, when banks were crashing left and right, all banks didn't crash. And that was a much harder situation than what we have. Will some banks crash? Probably. This is why I do analysis on my bank. My money is in the #1 bank in America for a reason, not because they're the #1 bank, but because that #1 ranking provides a threshold of safety. One of the things is you gotta start managing your money correctly. You've got to, because as long as you just keep making money and spending money and Fantastic Finances. She's a channel. Her name is Christy Van. She talks about fantastic velocity banking. And the number of people, I just see it's like, how could you have 6 credit cards and they're all maxed out? That's crazy. That's crazy. And your personal credit cards are maxed out. And this is one of the things that I found about her channel. You have these people with these maxed out credit cards and they can go to the bank and they can get a personal line of credit. And I'm just sitting there like, that's wild. That's just wild. But essentially, you want to manage your money very differently than you're managing your money now. You really do. Because once you start to tap into the spirit of money, and this is just the money management aspect. Now we're getting into the real aspect. And this is why you want to manage your money well first. This is why the money management is so important. Then you get into the real spirit of money, the birth of money. Now, what is the birth of money? When you start a business or a service and you do something and someone throws some money in your hand, that is the birth of money. And that right there is the single most powerful thing that you can do in your life. Once again, I am not one of these people talking about quit your job, leave your job. No, keep your job. And then go ahead and find out another way to make money while you keep your job. Now, why do you want to keep your job? Remember what I told you about? I went out and found me a part-time job while I was working another one. You need to put yourself in a position where you have more money. I forget this dude's name. I can see him. He's in the fitness space. He's 40 years old, and he did a video where he was talking about, when I was young, I used to have 4 and 5 jobs. 4 and 5 jobs. There's no reason to be broke when there's jobs you can get out here and work. He said, I was working, he was doing fitness training, security, some other stuff. And that's one of the things you gotta do, because here's the thing. In the beginning, it's not gonna be pleasant. It's gonna suck to be working that much. But what about your future? What about your future? See, once you get into the habit of making money, creating money, building money, doing something to make money, things change dramatically for you. Things just change so much, because what happens is you put yourself in the position, in the epitome of the spirit of money, doing something to get paid money. And you will find out, because this brings something else too. When you get in the habit of doing something that brings money, your deposits go way up. You work a regular job, you get paid once a week, you get paid maybe twice a month, depending. So you may go from 4 deposits to 2 deposits. When you start to make money, I remember when my storage auction book was booming, because I was selling on Amazon, and that's where the majority of my money came from. But I also was selling on my website. So I was getting a deposit from Amazon once a month. I was getting YouTube checks, and I was getting probably about 15, 20 deposits a month from my website. So we can just go ahead and say 22 deposits per month. How many days are there in the month? 30, 28 to 31. So I was getting deposits into my bank account the majority of the month. It's kind of hard to be broke when your deposits are adding up like that. So one of the things that you have to understand is you have to get in the spirit of doing things to make money. Now, with YouTube, a lot of people do make money on YouTube. A lot of people make money on YouTube, but it's not exactly what you think it is. There's a certain way that you have to go about doing it. There's a certain thing that you have to set up, and there's a certain way that you have to do it. So this is something else we'll be talking about, because that was what literally one of my consulting calls today was all about, YouTube and how to set it up and stuff. Because there's a lot of people teaching what I call trendy YouTube topics. There's these channels that get a lot of views because they're talking about stuff that people want to know. How to do TikTok, how to do Instagram, how to do YouTube. This is stuff that people want to know, and this is information people will pay for. But they're doing it based upon a trend-based aspect, and they're not doing it in a long-term aspect. So you can make money for a short period of time and then it's pretty much going to dry up. But this isn't what people are looking at. They're just looking at, he's doing it, it works, he's teaching how to work, I'm going to buy this training and I'm going to do the same thing. So it gets into creating a lot of different revenue opportunities for yourself. And this is one of the things that we're getting ready to get into. But this is the spirit of the money, because when you get into the spirit of the money, when you get into making money, creating more money, you enter into a whole new world. You get into a situation where your life will change. You get into a situation where everything is different. Everything is, it's like everything becomes sexy. It's a whole different mindset. It's a whole different game plan. And it takes you doing the work to make the money. If you're willing to do the work, you can make the money. If you're willing to do the things that you need to do to go ahead and situate and create these opportunities for yourself to enrich yourself, to put money in your pocket. And this is some of the things that we'll be talking about as we go along with the return of the channel. So once again, we're going to get into, I'm gonna have some conversations with you guys. So we will see how that goes, how that works out. But that's all I got for you guys today. I will talk to you in the next one.